Hey everybody, we are back for Behind the Video. This is episode number 33. We are recording on a special Sunday afternoon because it's Sunday and Goldie was sick and on a lot of drugs. And although we begged her to come on in her inebriated state, she opted not to. But joining us also is Tim Street. Hey Tim.
Hey Lon, hey Goldie, how's it going? We have a special guest today.
We do, and who do we have, Tim?
Bernie Sue, the executive producer of Lizzie Bennett Diaries. Woo!
Ooh. Hey, Bernie.
Hi.
So 13 million views on the Lizzie Bennett Diaries so far.
Yeah, I believe we crossed that yesterday, 13 million, that nice little lucky threshold.
That's remarkable.
That, every show wants to cross. I think the context is what makes it remarkable, because we only started in April. And we started, the show then, and now it's already, whether it's fast or slow, you're talking about a scripted narrative series to cross 13 million views in a shade over 7 months. So, not bad. I'll take it.
It is superb. Well, we really, we're all big fans of yours, so we really congratulate you on your success. It's been really pretty remarkable to see how it's grown, and it continues to grow. A lot of viewership. But what do you get for every episode, Bernie, roughly?
Every episode gets, because they all still grow, because they don't not grow,
Right.
But our kind of measure is that every episode now gets to 100,000 views before the next episode comes out after it. So we release episodes on Monday and Thursday, so the Monday episode will get to 100,000 views by the time the Thursday episode comes out, and vice versa. So I think that's really cool, and to see that kind of growth over the past few months has been remarkable. We were at a time when that number would be 50,000, and there was a time when it was at 75,000, and now it's 100,000. So who knows what will happen? There's the imminent end of the book. I feel like that's gonna come at some point, and we'll see what happens then. But otherwise, it's been a fun ride, and it's also not a type of show that you're trying to rush a bunch of views to, in the first 24 hours. That's not the goal. The goal is to kind of make a great show and keep it evergreen for as long as you can. So
it's good, and it's not like breaking news, so you can get those views over a long period of time. Also, it doesn't get stale.
It was one of the things that it's like the counter of 99% of YouTube content, which is built on what's hot. Mm-hmm. Like they're doing music video parodies of the hot music video, or they're doing news commentary of the hot news, or doing game reviews of the newest game. That's not evergreen content, and I just didn't want to spend all this energy creating content for that marketplace. So that was kind of my strategy, was to build it, make it so it's evergreen and can live on for years in the zeitgeist, and so far so good.
Well, congratulations again on that. It's fantastic, and we're all going to keep watching. Tim has something to ask.
I have a healthy Voyager at my front door, so I got to let her in. So,
okay.
All right, hold on a second.
It's always an adventure when you have pets. You got to let them in the door before and after you start the broadcast. My dog has occasionally been yelping from downstairs, and you get nervous about what you're going to find when you get down there. So now, Goldie, you've been busy working on some stuff too. So you in your inebriated drug state from your illness, you were out shooting Otaku, which is a web series you've been working on. So what's that all about?
Yeah, so we were. It's a web series that we are actually on a year hiatus from, and we just shot the Christmas episode last night while I was all drugged up. I tried to give the other characters more lines than my character. But it was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun. Yeah, I know, right, Brady? We ended up introducing a couple new characters, including a wrestler character. So our fans...
Goldie, I really want to know. You don't have to answer now because I'm going to be in the Bay Area in like a week. So but I want to know what spurred you to suddenly start up Otaku, because I remember like a year ago when you chatted about it, you were like, not you were saying bad things. You were like, oh no, moving on to other stuff, and and now you brought it back out of the blue, and I was like, whoa.
So what's crazy is I feel the same way. I was like, I'm moving on to other things. I have Cost of Capital, my other show, but what ended up happening, as will happen with a show where you're doing it about Birdie, right? A specific subculture of people who are avid fans of this genre, otakus. Yes. I kind of got cyber stalked by some of our otaku fans who found my personal Facebook page and my Twitter, and have been messaging me repeatedly asking for new episodes and being like, what happens to them? And I was like, well, they grew up and got married. that didn't solve the problem. So they're like, we want to know what really happens. And I was like, okay, so in our imaginary world, I will make a Christmas episode for you guys, so you guys know what happens in the in real life.
So this is a one-shot deal then.
Yeah, so this is kind of the Christmas to kind of make the fans happy, and we actually
Are there Christmas songs that go with it?
No, originally it was going to have a Japanese rock star actually in it, and he was going to sing it. But instead, we have my friend who wrestles, and he takes his shirt off. So I think that's pretty much about even, right?
They'll do well in the Bay Area.
Japanese rock star, guy that takes his shirt off, one or the other, right? It's it could go either way. And Tim, we're going to talk more about this later in the show, but you have a big conference coming up.
Yeah, well, there's two big conferences. One, New Media X. The Blog World folks are putting on a conference, New Media Expo, in Vegas, leading up to the big conference of CES, the Consumer Electronics Show. So we'll talk more about that. But I'm getting ready for both of those. Be doing a little paneling at both of them, so it should be fun.
Excellent. Well, that is, I'm looking
wait,
forward to
Tim,
that.
you have to say what panel you're speaking on.
Well, let's see. We're doing
Which one is he not speaking on?
Two at New Media Expo. One is a pitching your web series, where we're going to have some people come in and pitch their web series to a panel of experts, and the panel will give them feedback on their idea and then also on their pitch. That's always a fun one to do. Bernie's participated in that one, and it's actually something that grew out of Bernie's writers group that he did for the International Academy of Web Television. And then another panel that I'm going to be doing, and one of the speakers is actually here today on the show. Mr. Lon is going to be speaking on a panel about doing live broadcasts.
And it's called It's Alive.
It's Alive, and it's we're going to have some industry experts on live, and Lon will be there talking about Google Hangouts and all the ins and outs and tricks and tips for people who want to do Google Hangouts. We'll also have Phil that'll be talking about TriCasters, and blanking on who else is on the panel, but it'll be a great panel. And then we're doing a YouTube panel at CES that should be a lot of fun, and that's a International Academy of Web Television Award panel. So if you are out in Vegas for CES, be sure to get tickets. You can still buy tickets for the International Academy of Web Television Awards at iawtvawards.org. So that's going to be fun. That's at the Venetian in their big, huge new theater, not ballroom, but theater. So that'll be cool.
Wow, there's a lot going on. You guys make me tired. You guys are all busy.
Yeah, I'm tired.
I'm tired. Can we push this another week?
Yeah, right. Well, we'll do this next week. So, all right, thanks, everybody.
Really tired.
Yeah. But Tim's topic of the week is going to be about conferences, which we'll get to after the news, and talking about, as independent producers, how do you should you go to these things? Which ones should you go to? And maybe should you sponsor your own? So we'll get into that in more detail. But first, some news. And the first thing leading us off here is Machinima is laying off 20 in a reorganization. And it looks like they're taking a little bit out of the editorial side and putting a little bit more into sales and marketing and product development. So Tim or Goldie or Bernie, anything to add on this?
Give me the exact. I just heard of the layoff. I didn't know exactly which personnel, which departments they were laying off.
The janitors. They got rid of all the janitors, and people take out the garbage.
Don't visit that office then, because
it's really dirty.
It looks like from the quote in the LA Times blog that it's hitting the editorial group. So it looks like they're going to knock out some of the actual content creators, but beef up their product development and marketing departments there. It sounds like maybe they're trying to find the right balance between creative and sales. Is what it sounds like from what I'm reading here.
That makes a lot of sense to me, because right now, from what I understand about Machinima, they have a lot of views, and because and they have a lot of content that's kind of created for them with games and people doing machinima content, not the company, but the style machinima,
Right.
which is having games and narratives and stuff like that, and then game commentary content. And so they have that for not just days, for years. Like,
Right.
I don't know if they really need to be creating content, and so they have so many eyeballs. I think it's more about trying to sell out all that inventory to hopefully make more money for them. So that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, I think it's a shift that we're seeing in the marketplace right now, whereas people aren't looking for new content. They're looking for content that's already successful that hasn't been discovered or monetized yet.
So it's a is it part of that shift from necessarily episodes to channels? Is that what we're seeing?
Yeah, I can definitely say that that's part of it. I mean, it's so much easier to find somebody that already has a train moving with lots of views, but they're not making that much money yet, and then to sign them up to be on your channel, on your network. I'm sorry. So I think that's part of this is what's happening, and once you've got them signed up, then you've got to market them some more and do your ad sales, and you really need that team in place.
So in Goldie's case, people are banging down the door to watch Otaku, but it's not people looking for money. They just want to see more of you.
Oh, God, yes.
Well, that's how it starts, I think. I think it starts there. Well, let's move on to some broadcast ratings here. So the broadcast TV shows, a courtesy of our producer, Jason Perrier, who goes to a whole bunch of websites, including tvbythenumbers.zaptoit.com to get us this great info. Number 5 this week was the NFL on NBC. This was a 12 million viewer night for them. 2.5 Men, so apparently all the controversy around the show is helping the ratings a little bit because that one garnered 13.5 million views. Person of Interest on CBS at 14 million viewers, I should say. It's according to Nielsen, so they're a little algorithmic versus our exact numbers on the online space. Big Bang Theory, number 2, at 16.9 million views. I'm still happy to see it there. And NBC Sunday Night Football is number 1 at 21 million views. So, Bernie, maybe you should do a football show.
Me? That's okay. Yeah. Because that means I'm chasing football.
Yeah. Lizzie Bennett. Lizzie goes to the game. Lizzie tailgates. There you go.
Our audience doesn't watch football. So
it would be perfect for them.
It's a crossover. It bridges the two.
Although, have you guys seen the new Twitter account that's live now? That's called Seinfeld Today.
No, I haven't.
Does a parody of Seinfeld, but what the shows would be like if they were set today. So,
interesting.
Because Seinfeld originally was during a pre-internet period.
That's correct. That's correct. A period when I was.
He always had Macs too. You remember?
Yeah, he had the fancy Mac in the background there. He had the 20th anniversary one, right?
Yeah, he had the docking one. He had different ones in each season.
Here's one. The mitzvah tank won't leave Jerry alone. George's Facebook gets hacked. Kramer emails with an actual Nigerian prince. So it's,
of course he does.
Of course he does. It's funny because it's true.
It's brilliant, isn't it?
It is. That is real. That's good because I've seen some of these before. They've been kind of lousy. This is like it makes you wonder if Jerry Seinfeld's actually writing it. Maybe he is. That show is timeless though, no matter what. Television
except for the clothes.
Except for the clothes, right? Exactly.
You look at Kramer though. Kramer's clothes back then that looked hipster doofus. Like today, they're like really in style.
Yeah, that's true.
Now they're just hipster.
Yeah, exactly. Maybe he's a trendsetter.
But it's not good for him because he's too old to wear hipster clothes.
That's true.
He was in style the first time they were in style.
Right. It's been so long. It's come back around again. The cycle's completed. So we've got some TV shows on cable that are ranking up some views here. Austin and Jesse and Allie on the Disney Channel, and Goldie must know what this is.
Actually, this is the one Disney Channel show I don't know, but I think I know who's in it. I think it's two sisters.
Austin, Jesse, and Allie.
One of the cast members, Lizzie Bennett, was actually in an episode of this.
Oh, really?
Yeah, a couple weeks ago.
So
that episode probably got more views.
Well, it got more social media chatter, that's for sure.
There you go.
There you go. It's 4.8 million viewers on that one. Football again, the Heisman Trophy on ESPN, 4.9 million views.
And that was the first time that I think a freshman got a Heisman Trophy.
Oh wow! So it was kind of an unexpected outcome there. Odd time. It was on from 8 to 9:08 p.m.
It happens.
It happens.
It happens.
They don't stop talking and the music goes, and you know how it goes. Duck Dynasty on A&E, 6.4 million views. And then, of course, the NFL dominating the last two spots. The NFL Network at number 2 at 6.7 million views. And the regular season game on cable on ESPN, 16.2 million, which is network level. Incredible.
Speaking of cable television,
night, by the way.
Did you guys hear about Storage Wars, about Dave Hester suing? He got fired and he's suing the network.
No, do tell.
Yeah, so he's suing them. I don't know exactly what his beef is, but one of the things that came out in the lawsuit is that they kind of prearrange what's in the storage locker, so it's not like a real locker. They stage it ahead of time. And so I know.
My dream.
I know. It really taints your image on what you think reality television really is.
Never show how the sausage is being made.
There
Never.
you go.
Don't
And
do
now
it.
it's all going to come out. He's the guy that says, "Yep," right?
Yep.
Wow. Well, it was interesting because this very same issue of things being rigged, House Hunters on HGTV or one of those networks, same thing. So a lot of times the person has already bought a house and moved in, and then they have to recreate. They basically act out the process that they went through to buy the house that they're already in. And that's been going on for a while too. I'm telling you,
don't take any chances.
That's right.
What you should do is you should find a book that was really popular that is in the public domain, and then you kind of create a show around it that's kind of modernized. But you pretend like it's real, and some people actually think that it's real.
Sounds kind of hacky, man. Very hacky.
Okay.
Who would do that, Tim?
Who would do such a thing?
No
I
one
don't
on
know,
this
but
show.
isn't that a good idea?
That is a great idea. I think
Such a
somebody should take
hacky
advantage
idea.
of that. You could probably get 13 million views in the first 4 or 5 months with that.
Yeah,
So.
for sure.
Doubtful, Lon.
Doubtful.
Impossible.
So have you guys been following the Screen Actors Guild Awards?
I heard they were leaked. That they were leaked before they were announced.
Really? Because we
Yeah.
got the whole list in our show notes here. So I don't know if there's
we
anything
leaked them. We were the ones
we
that
leaked them.
We
We haven't
talked
actually
about
said
Nicole
anything
Kidman
yet. Yeah.
getting her one for Hemingway.
Yes, for Hemingway and Gellhorn. Julianne Moore for Game Change. Actually, I haven't seen that yet. I want to see that.
Game
Charlotte.
Change. Best movie of the year.
Really? Oh, good. I'll have to check it out. I read the book. So
good.
now I'm going to
It's
see
pretty
the. Good.
Well, no,
Check it out.
let me explain what I mean by saying that. When you think of the best movie of the year, it may not be like the greatest filmmaking experience or whatever, but it is a story and it's presented so well that it was so engaging to me that I've actually watched it probably 3 times.
No kidding.
So, I mean, you're talking about a movie that it's engaged me so much that I've watched it 3 times. That means it's the best movie of the year to me because I haven't seen anything else that much. It's like it was so engaged, and so yeah, I'm a big fan of Game Change. So I'm like, all the way.
And another, not related, but similar intrigue, which is Homeland. Claire Danes got nominated there. Good show. I haven't seen the whole show yet. I'm catching up. So, Juliana Margulies for The Good Wife is in there. Lot of good. There actually is a lot of good TV on right now. So, follow that. When are
You should get tickets to the Screen Actors Guild Awards.
I should.
Right?
Where are
You
those?
should go.
Where is it?
I
in
think they got
Connecticut?
them on eBay. You can just buy
really?
them on eBay. Yeah.
Maybe I'll go and just kind of hang out. Maybe
Yeah, that'd be good.
maybe I'll create a scene or something. So,
That's good.
Now, here's another one, and we have to comply with this with all of our advertisers. Television networks are now barred from blasting viewers with excessively loud commercials, according to the Daily Mail. For some reason, the UK is reporting this about American television. But have you ever had that problem? Like you're falling asleep, and all of a sudden the ad for the clapper comes on at 3 o'clock in the morning?
Not in the last, 10 years.
Yeah. I think once the lady in the commercial died, the Clapper producers died too because they were roughly the same age. But I don't know.
We had bought a clapper once for my grandmother. Every time she talked, it would turn the lights off. It was funny. She was from Brooklyn.
Were her dentures snapped?
Yeah. It was her accent. She was from Brooklyn, so it just kind of
that happens.
So moving on to movies. The chart looks almost identical to the prior week, except the Twilight Saga is dropping like a rock. So unlike Bernie Sue, who can put up a web series and be watched in perpetuity, the attention span is like that for Twilight fans because they only made $9 million this week.
Only $9 million.
I mean,
Bummer.
Yeah.
Bummer. What are they going to do?
Bad.
I mean, I know Murdy, you spend that much on an episode, right?
Oh, yeah.
Goldie dropped $18 million on Otaku last week. I mean,
night.
that wrestler guy. I mean, geez, what does that cost you?
I know, but all the girls on my show touched his chest.
Now, is he? I have to go back to this for just a second because the movies really are. They are what they are from last week. But was this wrestler a professional wrestler or one of the athlete wrestlers?
He's an athlete wrestler, and he does jiu-jitsu. So he trains and he competes. And yeah, he thinks it's really funny because all of his Facebook pictures are all just profile pictures of him just going rah without a shirt on. So I was like, when I was casting this role, I was like, how would you like to play yourself, but with a different name?
he was all over that. That's great.
Yeah,
that's
great.
Excellent. Well, my wife, as you know, is a black belt in karate, but no one has asked her yet. But
well, she doesn't have any photos of like her shirt off.
No, she doesn't.
So
Yeah. You got
That's the secret.
You got to look the part. So
Yeah.
that is definitely something to do. She is, by the way, we are expecting. So I think.
Wow!
Yeah.
Congratulations!
Yay! So we
go see movies now.
Yes, we're going to
see
get a
movies.
lot in that weekend. So.
Lon, I think you need to go watch This Is 40, the new Judd. This is 40.
That's depressing. That's
the
really
new Judd
depressing.
Apatow movie. That's really depressing. I know, Jim, you've
Really
seen
depressing.
it too. It's really depressing. But you
It's
need to
really
see it because now your wife is pregnant.
Oh, I will do that. I'm going to get right on that.
You know how like The Office is awkward humor?
Yeah.
This is a new thing. This is depressing humor.
Depressing humor. It's a
Yeah,
paradox.
so I think
That's what it works.
he's just like looking at the spectrum of human emotions, going, okay, let's see here. Which one hasn't anyone done a comedy? Depressing things. That'll be great. Let's do a comedy about depressing things.
It's the innovation of the market there.
So I think that's what we're going to see. We're going to see a new wave instead of awkward, depressing.
Gotcha. Well, I'll tell you what isn't getting any older is the romantic comedy, and Save the Date is leading our IMDb buzz this week at a 289% level of activity, and
that's got some TV stars in it, right? Like one of them was in Community and also Mad Men.
I believe so.
Played. She played Sterling's wife, Trudy.
Gotcha. So there's some familiar faces here. The story is familiar too. She begins to. This is Sarah. Sarah's the character's name. Begins to confront her shortcomings after she rejects her boyfriend's hasty proposal and soon finds herself in a rebound romance. Meanwhile, her sister Beth is immersed in the details of the wedding. Wow. Check that out. The Hobbit launches this week. Save the date.
Showed up at my house on Friday.
That's right. You're a screen actor, or whatever those screeners. You get the screeners.
PGA.
Got it. So that is
I started
out this
watching it, fell asleep last night. I think it's the 48 frame rate that put me to sleep.
Now
I got hypnotized and
I watched it without 48 film, and I thought it was okay. So now I'm kind of curious to actually watch it with the 48.
So
48 frames per
can I ask about this 48 thing? Because I have one of those.
Sorry, we've signed NDAs, not allowed to talk
you can't
about
talk about it.
Sorry.
So
wait, seriously? Seriously, you both have NDAs. You can't talk about 48 FPS.
No. We're joking. We're joking.
Let me ask
Bernie,
about this.
It's too early for Bernie. It's only like 12:30 in the afternoon. It's like Bernie, the sun needs to be good and hot for Bernie, like 2 or 3.
There.
I'm drinking my coffee at 12:30. All right, so
there you go.
Hey, there you go. So let me ask you about this 48 frames per second thing, because I have one of those 120 hertz televisions, and the first thing I did was turn that off because it made, and I'm certainly interested in hearing what all of you think, because you're all in the industry here. I mean, there's a certain look to film that uh, these frame doubling techniques really kill it. So how does the movie look at double the frame rate? Does it look like video, or does it look film?
I think I'm going to need to watch it in several different places to give you an educated answer, because watching it on my big screen TV, it looked like a Harry Potter film, for all intents purposes. I mean, just, from a look standpoint.
Right.
And I really didn't notice anything, so I don't know if it's a setting on my TV or if it was the screener that I had or what. But I didn't really see a big difference, so I might need to go see it in a movie theater.
How about you, Goldie?
I hear the people that screened it in IMAX in 3D in LA, they were saying that it looked, you could just tell some of the CGI stuff and I'm going to give this away. There's a bunny chase and everybody, and it's all CGI, and everybody's saying that it just, because it's in 48, it just looks so much cheaper.
Right, it looks video-like. It doesn't look like film, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Video game-ish.
Video game-ish or something. So we'll see. There's going to be purists that want to stick to 24, and we'll see how that goes. I mean, I like the look of 24, but maybe I'm just old. How about you, Bernie? You're an artist. What do you think?
I don't have an opinion like Tim does, or you know what I mean. But like, I guess my thing is that it feels suspiciously like a gimmick to get people into theaters. That's what I'm smelling right now with it. I look at it and I just go, I think of it and I'm like, well, all right. I mean, from an aesthetic point of view, like as a producer, I go like, well, great. Now you got to like render 50% more frames or 100% more frames really in order to make this thing, and that's going to just like double your rendering budgets and your effects budgets and all that. And,
it's true, right?
And I kind of go like, what an idiotic thing to think about right now. Like, why make it so complicated?
Yeah, but let's say that you were a big Hollywood director that lived in New Zealand and owned his own visual effects place.
Well, I mean, yeah, I think it's probably something where it's like, oh yeah, let's give it a shot and see if it works.
I can charge more money for this.
Right.
Yeah, I don't mind it. I guess I look at it from being resource, like handcuffed all the time. I just like, nah, let's not worry about that. Like, was that really going to add anything? Will people really know? Is it really worth it? I mean, that's kind of where I see it right now. But I mean, it's not a really good opinion because I haven't seen it, and so I feel like I need to see it to have an opinion on it. But it does seem suspiciously like a gimmick to get people in the theaters because our TVs can't really show that right now, or at least a lot of them can't. And then same with like that whole like what makes the theater experience unique enough to make someone go and pay $20 to go sit in it, which is what the whole 3D thing was to me.
Sticky floors and lousy popcorn. That's what gets me out.
Yeah, I mean, with you going back to what you said, Lon, about the box office thing with romantic comedy, it's like that's an experience, right? Like that is the take a date and sit in the theater and have a quiet 2 hours together. I mean, that I get. Like that's the movie theater experience to me, and so
romantic.
You can't take that away, but like saying that you need to see in the theater because it's 48 frames per second, like that's
yeah, right, right.
We'll see.
Yeah, would you like to go out with me and see a movie in 48 frames per second? Yeah, it's probably easier to do the romantic comedy. And Bernie, if I had just heard what you said about taking dates to romantic comedies, I would have probably been much better in the dating game, because whenever I asked to go see the Star Wars remake or Star Trek, never seemed to work. So
Lon, you're asking the wrong girls.
That must have been what it was.
Yeah, you should have gone to Comic-Con.
Yeah.
No, you don't want to find girls who don't shower. Bad.
Oh.
Well, on that note, how about we look at YouTube this week on we have a couple of videos in our top 5. Number 5 is Flirtatious Dance Prank by Pranks versus Prank. And
I found this a snoozer. It didn't work for me.
And what was the premise, Tim?
Well, the premise is, the couple that stars in these prank versus prank videos, the premise was that she had taken some dancing lessons ahead of time with like this suave Russian dance instructor in order to make her boyfriend, husband, whatever, jealous while they were taking lessons together. And it's like, okay, you got it. You don't need to watch it. It's just, I don't know.
Yeah,
Didn't work for me.
Doesn't work.
Just,
they have a lot of subscribers though, so they tend to, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Interesting. Well, that wasn't doing it for me either. So
yeah, number 4 didn't work for me either. I can't even pronounce it. I don't even know how to say it.
Cueritos Suergos.
You sure?
I think so.
Yeah, and who's that by?
I don't know.
What's he talking about?
Hola, soy German.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
So, well, this is the thing. We're an international, this is international these days, so there's a lot more stuff going on there. Moses versus Santa Claus epic rap battles. This was pretty good.
This one's good.
This one's really good. Snoop Dogg versus Santa Claus.
Yeah.
You can't.
Well, no, it's Moses versus Santa, but right. Snoop Dogg is playing Moses.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's pretty huge. When's Snoop Dogg going to be on Lizzie Bennett? I mean, that to me, that's a good fit.
No, yeah, that's a great fit. he can play Lizzie's dad.
Awesome, her stepdad.
Right. Oh my gosh.
Biological father.
Who kicked her out of the house for not smoking pot.
Yeah, right. See, reverse psychology.
Well, I know that we've all seen number 2 on this list, which is the Star Trek Into Darkness trailer.
Teaser trailer.
Yeah.
Teaser trailer,
Yeah.
which is different because the teaser is different than the trailer.
Right.
It felt like a promo for Battlestar Galactica.
It didn't feel very Star Trek-y. I didn't see
It felt
this.
like The Dark Knight.
Really? It's Battlestar Galactica. It was like Caprica was blowing up. It took,
Yeah. Well, I'm watching this thing and I'm thinking,
Wait,
where's...
Tim, Caprica blows up? When?
Sorry.
I'm watching this whole thing. No, spoiler. But I'm watching this trailer, and there's no Star Trek in it. I mean, there's Star Trek in that you have the characters from the last one, but I don't see any spaceships. I mean,
No.
it's like, I don't know. I think this is...
It's all this Goram human emotion that's in it and things blowing up.
Right. It just goes against like all the computer programming that they usually do. So, we'll see. I think the purists, the jury's still out on that. And then the top video at 12 million this week was WCU versus App State worst free throw ever. And are you excited to be done with the list here, Tim?
No, that was just number 1. And
okay.
That's a little boring.
Yeah, it was by far the worst free throw I've ever seen. So it does live up to its description there. So that was our top YouTube of the week. And what else is happening in the world of web series here? Here's a question.
Oh, come on. There's a big thing happening in the world of web series this week.
And what is that?
Bernie, come on, Bernie. What's everybody talking about?
Streaming nominations tomorrow.
No.
What? Wait, what's everybody talking about?
Ray.
Oh, that one.
Williams.
That's not a web series. It's web video. It's two different things.
Come on,
Yeah.
So what's going on with Ray William here?
Well, remember the story that we had about him leaving
Right,
Maker?
his network. Yep.
Yeah. Well, a little more happened this week.
A little. So there's a lot. I'm going to fast forward to this. So Maker, as you know, is a network, a YouTube network that has a bunch of YouTube channels in the thousands. And Ray William Johnson was their number 1. He's the number 1 in YouTube, so he was there by default. Their number 1.
Right.
And they had a split a couple months ago, which sounds like you guys talked about. And it was press and political and PR'd, and it seemed like it was pretty amicable and like, oh yeah, we're good. Well, basically this week, Ray wrote like a manifesto about how he felt, and he just really, I mean, it looks like he's going to get sued. I'm sure he broke some NDAs. I'm sure he broke some negotiating clauses, but he was just like very vocal about what it's like to be at Maker and what they're trying to do and what they're trying to steal his IP, his words, and then Maker, of course, after that had to respond with like their president had to respond with similar things, and then after with the counterpoint, so you had two different sides of it, and then of course you had YouTubers responding to that.
Right. So the whole community's jumping in now.
It got a little dirtier than that. There was definitely some mudslinging where Ray said that the CEO of Maker was drunk one night and told him that he was a convicted felon and that he was trying to get that expunged from his record. And so that was like the first like big bomb that was dropped, was like, oh my God, he wanted it expunged so that he could be CEO of Maker officially. And And he came out, the CEO actually came out with like a reply to that, saying that yes, he was a convicted felon.
Wow.
But it just seems to be blowing up, and it's like it totally reminds me of the early days of Rocket Boom, where Amanda and Andrew Barron had a fight in public online, and it's just not. I mean, people talk about it, and it's great for getting clicks, but it's not good to be that transparent to where when you're mad, you're fighting in public.
And it makes it hard too if you want to make future deals with anyone. They may be reluctant to make a deal with somebody who airs the dirty laundry over trying to develop some kind of separation or whatever. Tube Filter's reporting that Ray William Johnson had a 130% increase in his subscribers over the course of this.
That could be an anomaly. Like I wouldn't mean that. Well, I think the thing you to look at more is that you see a lot of the networks come out and kind of voice their opinion, voice like from their stance. I mean, like the big frames and like the machinimas, they'll come out and basically say like, we are not evil empires, or at least we aren't, like that, like being that their network isn't, and this is what they do to not make it this whole studio versus independent thing that it looks like it's gonna this war that may be brewing. But there are YouTubers who are very happy with their networks. There are YouTubers who are unhappy with their networks and then become happy with their new networks. And I mean, I think what Ray said about no YouTube or YouTuber should ever join a network, there's no reason to. I think that's a little, I think that's a little untrue. Like I see that there's great value in certain networks depending on what they give you, of course. So there's definitely different sides of this, but it is quite a PR hit to Maker, which is already kind of like has this reputation as being the what they call it sometimes underground is the Death Star of the YouTube networks. So
Bernie, are you with a network now, Bernie, or are you on your own?
Well, I mean, me personally, no. Lizzie Bennett is. Lizzie Bennett was partnered with Decca, which is a smaller YouTube network, which has been around for years actually. And they primarily focus on women's content, and I'm extremely happy with them. They gave me an office to work out of, like in their building. So I think they've given me everything they really can give us reasonably to succeed, and it's made my life easier.
Right, and if that works, it's great.
Yeah, I have no problem with Decca as a network. And I told them after this whole thing came out, because every meeting I went to during this week, like this topic came up.
Okay.
Like every meeting,
everybody's talking about it, right?
Everybody's talking about it, and I actually asked Decca. It's like, hey, do you need us to speak out about this, like about networks? Like, because we can. Like, I have no problem having me speaking out about it, because I think it's. Finding the right partnership, of course, is the key, and we think we found one. We found the right partnership for our show. So, yeah. I mean, I have no opinion on Maker. Honestly, I've never dealt with Maker. I've only gone to their VidCon parties, which are crazy in good ways.
Pretty good, right? They're good parties.
They go all out in their parties. I'll give them that. But that's all my experience with Maker. I've never had a discussion or even a meeting with Maker, so I have no opinion on it. I just hope it all is resolved amicably.
Or not. or not.
I don't think it's good for the industry to have these public disputes. I mean, I think you guys have some problems. Don't take it out on the web. It's only going to hurt the industry.
Yeah, I mean, if you think about this, Warner Brothers just invested $40 million in the Maker.
Right, and now there's a lot of money on the line. Yeah, and a lot of people's jobs too. It's not just the CEO and Ray William Johnson. It's all the people working at these networks that get impacted by these disputes that happen, and it's.
One of the great things of the whole rise of the networks and the Google funded channels is this what you're talking about, the jobs in the industry. I mean, when Google first launched their whole funded network thing last year with the 100 channels, it was every person in the business, in these YouTube, these Tube Filter meetups, suddenly had job offers. Right? Whether or not they should take them, or they're maybe just editing or whatever, that's up to them. But suddenly this whole industry opened up with this flush of money literal like $100 million of money came in, and so people were being hired all over the place, and so it's a good thing, and so at least for the industry, I hope. And so 40 million coming over, for example, from Warner Brothers to Maker, I mean, again, flushes, like here's all these resources, we can hire people and grow this industry again. So I like seeing it, and it's funny that I don't think anybody in this room has actually taken any of those jobs. So or this job. But
we're
anyway.
slogging away on our own. It's I take my $100 a month from Google, and I'm happy for it, as provided people watch my stuff. So. Wow, this has been a great discussion here. So we're gonna move on. We're gonna do our app of the week, and then we'll talk about Tim's topic of the week. And the app of the week this week is something I just found it incredibly useful for doing a instructive with an iPhone, and it's called Air Server for iOS. Have any of you used this before?
Downloading it now.
It's actually a. It's not for iOS. It's for the Mac, I should say. It uses iOS. So we all know about AirPlay, that if you have an Apple TV, you can grab your iPhone and mirror the content to the television through the Apple TV. Well, this adds a layer onto your Mac, so you can use the Mac to be a server for AirPlay. So if you want to do a capture and capture what you're doing on your iPhone, you can do that with this software just by doing the AirPlay mirroring, and it works incredibly well. So. Great quick way to do that if you don't have the money to buy additional hardware to do capturing, or even with iPhones, it's sometimes hard to do the mirroring. Great little app, Air Server for Mac. I think it's like $15 or $20 or something. It's well worth it if you do a lot of instructionals on that. So that is that. Not to be confused, by the way, with AirPlayer, which will let you stream video from your computer to your iPad or iPhone, which is also a great app. So that is my app of the week. Tim, topic of the week. We're going to talk today about conferences and networking. So a lot of our listeners are real new to this space. They're in that transition from hobby to career, perhaps, and there's a lot of stuff to go to. And is it worth going to everything, or should you, if you're in a remote area like I am out here in Connecticut, is it worth sponsoring your own conferences? So what have you learned, Tim? Because you go to all this stuff.
I do go to a lot of conferences. I think the thing that you want to do when you're thinking about conferences is a couple different things. One, what's the best thing that could happen to you at that conference? What do you want out of it? Do you want to meet new people? Do you want to get work? Do you want to sell something? Do you want to build awareness? What are your different goals that you want out of that conference? What's the best thing that can happen? And then a great tip to do ahead of time is to pay LinkedIn the money to get a special account, a pro account at LinkedIn, so that you can contact people that you don't know. And then go to the list of speakers that are on there, and if you see somebody that's speaking at a conference that you want to talk to, find them on LinkedIn, shoot them a LinkedIn message, and try to schedule a meeting with them during the conference. Like before they're speaking is the best time to schedule it, because after they get done speaking, they're going to get hit with a barrage of people coming up to them on the stage to try to get their business card, and it's better to have that meeting before they speak. Sometimes you can have a meeting with them before they speak, and in a moment when they're not thinking about what the right answer is, they use you as an example right. in what they're talking about as well. So, that one's worked out well for me a lot in different conferences. But really prepare yourself for that conference, and then when you're there, don't be that guy that is yelling out, hey, check out my podcast, or hey, check out my video. Wait for somebody to ask you what you do and then tell them, and make sure that you're prepared for that. Have your business card ready, have whatever information you want to give them, and make it something that they want to carry, that they want to hold on to. Some people don't even want to hold on to business cards anymore, but you're still, that's the best thing to have. And make sure you get their information as well. Don't just give them something. When that trade happens, make sure you get their information as well. And then follow up. LinkedIn is a great way, but there are other CRM, customer management customer relationship management tools, Salesforce is probably the top of the line, and if you're just starting out, you probably don't need that. There are some free ones out there like Zoho CRM. Try them out. Just search free CRM, see what you come up with. But what you want to do is you want to make sure you have follow-up for these conferences afterwards and know what it is you want out of that contact. A lot of times I'll meet people at an event and they'll shoot me an email that just is like, hey, it was nice meeting you. Well, I don't know what to do with that. I can't read their mind through an email that says, hey, nice meeting you. And sure, that's great to be polite and everything, but what's the next step? What do you want to have happen? Hey, it was nice meeting you. Could we set up a phone call to chat about X, Y, and Z? That's okay to ask that. That's what business is about. And I think a lot of times as creatives, we're reluctant to do that. Sales is a dirty word to a creative person, but pitching is not. And you have to have a come to Jesus that pitching and selling are the same thing. And so don't think of it as selling. Think of it as pitching, and go pitch yourself. Go pitch your product. Go pitch. Because that's the only way you're going to accomplish what it is that you want to
And if you're a new creator starting out, there's a lot of conferences to choose from and a limited amount of money to probably in the budget to go to some of these things. Which ones do you recommend people look at to achieve some of these goals?
It really depends on what it is that you're looking to accomplish and what you're doing. If you're a web series person, you should definitely be going to the International Academy of Web Television Awards. That's iawtbawards.org. I'm on the board of directors, so transparency here, but that's where you're going to meet the top players in web series. Last year, Bernie Sue was at that event, and he actually wrote the script for, he was one of the writers for the award show there. And he's also been seen at the Streamy Awards, receiving a Streamy Award on stage as well. That's another great event for web series people to go to. If you're in LA, go to Tube Filter. The New Media Expo is a great one to just kind of give you an overall view. It's also a great place to meet bloggers that are going to talk about your product once they meet you. If they like your web series, they'll blog about it. So that's a fun one to go to. And then South by Southwest, the interactive conference, is just a great place to jump in and start meeting people, and then you'll start to see where those people are speaking that you want to listen to, that you want to meet, and you'll get a feel for it after that. I think all of those conferences are a good place to start. And then if you're a YouTuber, you definitely want to go to Hank Green's or actually the Green Brothers conference. And Bernie, you've seen some success at VidCon.
I think if you're doing web series, you should go to VidCon, like absolutely, period. Not just YouTubing. If you separate the two, and the reason why I say that is because VidCon and Playlist Live, which is the other one that's in Florida, I think in February, those are the conferences that you actually see the fans come out to, and that's a very different thing than going to see the people who make all the shows and talk about the shows or blog about new media. You're talking about like seeing consumers in the same somewhat similar way of Comic-Con is this blend of creators and the fans all together, and so you kind of can see where they're going. And so VidCon itself is that. VidCon is both a industry event and for educational purposes and business, and like Tim said. But then you have another, I'm going to guess next year, 10,000 fans come. Fans of web video and watching video content on the web, whatever that may be, come to this event, and so you can kind of feel the pulse of what they're looking for and get a sense of it. And so last year for VidCon for us, just to kind of continue Tim's point, Lizzie Bennett went to VidCon, and it was tremendous. Like it blew us out of the water. Where it was like, wow, we have 1,000 people here who want to meet the cast of Lizzie Bennett, and like we didn't think that was going to be anywhere near that. So I think, honestly, if you're a web series creator, I think you have to go to VidCon. I think it's it's something you need to see and see what the kids are watching, what gets them excited as a part of it. So yes, that's VidCon, and apparently Playlist Live, which I've never been to, but that's the East Coast kind of version of it, I guess.
Yeah, East Coast. Goldie, anything that you've found that you've seen helpful?
Well, as we all know, I go to all the nerd conventions, so
which is probably just as important too, right? I mean, you want
Right.
to get viewership for some of this stuff, and you got to go where the fans might be too. It's as Tim said, it's viewership and it's business at the same time, right?
Right, definitely. I think one of the things that's important is actually exactly what Tim was saying, which is you should always have paraphernalia for your show or your product or yourself. So for 1 year for Otaku, I remember when we were just starting out, I went to one of the comic book conventions and we were just handing out buttons in costume, of course. We handed out a lot of buttons.
Yeah, I bet. So you have to take one for the team every once in a while and dress up in costumes, right?
Every once in a while.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's good. So you got to steer and row. So it's important to do that. And Tim, what about sponsoring a conference? Is that something people should think about doing if they're in an area where there's not a lot of of producers?
I think you should go to a conference first as an attendee and get a feel for it and see what people are doing and see if it makes sense for you to be a sponsor there. I think last year at VidCon, there were some companies there that were a little more professionally focused, and they were more focused on the creators. And so they had a booth set up to sell creators editing software or technology for creating web series. And while all of those creators, the top-end creators, were there, the bulk of the people that were at VidCon were fans. And so they didn't really care about how to create the show. They just wanted to meet the talent or buy a T-shirt or get a button. And I think that's something that you can only really get a feel for if you go there or talk to somebody that's been there before. So that'll really help, because you don't want to waste all your money sponsoring something that isn't going to give you an ROI on that investment.
Is very good advice. So definitely. Well, that will bring us to the end of our show. So we've discussed and learned a lot today. Thank you, Bernie Sue, for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
Good to catch you on your morning there. Over there in sunny California.
Not sunny and not morning.
Oh, okay. Where can people find you and all your work, Bernie?
Oh, it's kind of sunny now. Anyway, you can find me at Bernie Sue, basically everywhere: Facebook, Twitter, URL, all that. And as far as my work goes, I'm pretty much most known right now for doing the show Lizzie Bennett Diaries, which you can find at Lizzie Bennett, Lizzie Bennett with an IE, Bennett with 1T.com. You can look her up on YouTube, which is where the primary hub of the channel is. And we have new episodes Monday and Thursday, and sometimes we drop surprise videos on Wednesday, Friday, Tuesday, and Saturday. And it's a transmedia show, so there's content that can pop up anytime, of the day.
So subscribe to
Yes.
the channel.
Subscribe to the channel, follow the characters on Twitter, all that stuff. Yes, so that's right now. In a couple months, I'll tell you more about what else I'm working on, but right now, that's what you get.
Excellent. Well, congratulations again on your success there. So we love having you on the show. Goldie,
Thank
where
you.
can people find you? And Otaku. I want to watch Otaku. Where can I see this guy taking his shirt off?
Not quite yet. We're still in editing. We just wrapped it last night.
So you got to add more muscles to him or something? Is that the
He
plan?
actually asked me if I could airbrush in him a six-pack, which I said, not going to happen in real life, not going to happen now.
There's ethics to pursue here,
Yeah.
right?
So you can always find me at Goldie Chan on the Twitterverse, and you can find my show Otaku the Series at YouTube/Otaku the Series. And actually, we just started an Instagram account, which has actually gotten a really crazy, awesome response, which is interesting. So you can find us now on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook for that show. And then Cost of Capital always exists on Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube.
Busy. Tim Street, where can people find you? Oh, Bernie has something to add.
I had a question actually for that, Goldie.
Yeah.
Sorry, Tim. Instagram with the show. How is that? How are you finding that? Like, was that hard to start? Is it hard to maintain? I was just something to think about internally.
We just started it 2 days ago, so maintaining it has been quite easy.
It always starts off easy.
All right,
But, you know,
I'll bug you again in like a week and a half.
yeah,
Like,
it's been actually okay because for our show it makes sense because we're doing it from the perspective of Coco, who's the lead. So it's all the cute things that she sees every day.
Sure.
So it's easy.
Okay. Well, I with Lizzie Bennett and its 360 world, like obviously we've talked about having characters on Instagram, but
Right. Are you guys
anyway,
on Pinterest?
We do have one character on Pinterest.
Okay,
And
that's
we've actually told narrative through it.
Okay.
So, and if we do Instagram, we do the same thing. We would tell a narrative through the Instagram. So, anyway, go ahead, Tim.
You can find me at 1 Tim Street, and if you have an iPad and want to check out some of the capabilities of an enhanced ebook, you can download a free sample on the iBook store. It's called Vids, V-I-D-S.
Check that out. I have it on my iPad, as a matter of fact. So it is a great piece of work, and we have some great shows, by the way, in our archive about how to monetize on ebooks back a couple weeks ago. So check that out as well. I'm Lon Seidman. You can find me at LonSeidman on Twitter or lonseidman.com. That'll do it for this episode of Behind the Video. We are a wrap.
Yay.
Good show, everybody. Thanks, Bernie, for joining us short notice.
Thanks, yeah.
Hey, no sweat. Ironically, I'm going to be recording an episode of New Mediocrity, which is a podcast, audio, no video, in like an hour. So
this is like a big media day.
Warm up, man.
Yeah, exactly. So if anything, that one's very focused on Lizzie Bennett because it's like cast and crew. So yeah, this is a good warm up, and it's good to not just talk about industry stuff and not just you get it.
Yeah.
Anyway,
cool, man.
Absolutely cool. Well, we will see you all at our usual time.
Are we doing stuff during the holidays?
Oh yeah, that's a good question. Let me look at my calendar.
No, we can circle back later.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, I'm not going anywhere, so we can.
Okay.
We should do a live one from New Media Expo when we're down there.
There you go.
We'll Skype in Goldie.
Hey Goldie, you gonna be in the Bay Area for the holidays?
Hung up on you.
Nope. I'll text her.
All right. Catch you later.
I'll see you guys later.
All right.
See you later.
Bye.
Bye.